I'm going to cut your prep time in half. If you're anything like me, you spend time before the session getting all the stat blocks ready, all the encounters ready, outlining things, and it can take you quite a long time. Sometimes my prep looks like this, or this, but you can fit your prep on one page. Welcome to Mystic Arts, where I'm at Gen Con right now, but you're going to get a video about prep. My name is Daði, I'm a professional writer and director, and I've been DMing for a little bit over a decade. These 8 steps are going to make it dead easy for you to prep your next game. It is literally a run sheet of things for you to do, things for you to think about, and when you go through them in that order, you're going to feel it becomes so easy to run the game. Because I want to challenge you to run your next session of D&D like a lazy dungeon master. Because for years now, I've been following the advice of this guy, Shae, the lazy dungeon master. This is his newest book, and there's a Kickstarter live right now, link in the description. And he invented the 8 steps of prep. And we are going to start with step 1, review the characters. Before you start prepping, take a quick look at what characters are playing in your session. I have this little blurb written out just that I can quickly look at and see who the characters are in my party. For me, this phase also includes refreshing your memory on what happened last time. At the bottom of every session's prep document, I have this post-mortem bullet list that I write both during and after a session is done, and I just quickly jot down what happened, things that I made up on the spot. They all go here into the middle of this document. In fact, reading your last session's prep doc should be high up on the list because you're going to encounter stuff like, oh right, they're currently walking around with a whole mercenary company. Here are those characters. Quickly review all of that before moving on to the next phase. Step 2. Create a strong start. For me, every D&D session starts off with an opening monologue. This kind of opening blurb is frequently the part of the prep doc that takes me the longest. But what's more important than anything you write in your opening monologue is where you end up with the group. You come out of an opening monologue in only 3 ways. You roll initiative, you roll a skill check, or you say a line of dialogue. Those are the 3 strong starts. Either you go straight into combat, you go straight into talking, or you hit a middle ground. You do the whole opening monologue and say, make a perception check. Why? What do I see? What's going on? Where am I? What's happening? Step 3. Outline potential scenes. Having reviewed the previous session, knowing where the players are going, it's now time for me to figure out what tonight's session is about. For me, that means I create a new session prep document and I start writing stuff in it. Oftentimes, if it's a long-running campaign, I end up having sections like this, copy-pasted elements from previous sessions that haven't come up yet. I'm just going to leave them down here for now and make a bullet list. I know that coming up, there's going to be a fight with a Lukemis, a new monster I just made up, heavily inspired by a Lukeo demon from Pathfinder. I know that we're going to want to talk about what happened last time in the Fate Weaver's cave, so we're going to call it the Fate Weaver Aftermath. I know that we're going to have to land some more stuff about Azure Company, the mercenary company they're talking to, and I'm certain we're not going anywhere without spending some time figuring out about the Tower of Oversight and the Pale Fist territory we're walking into. 4 things seems like an arc. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. There are more definitive methods to do this, but I think that's enough for now. If you're confused about all these proper nouns, don't worry about it. This is just me prepping my session. You will have your own proper nouns when you prep your session. I think 4 is going to do it for now, so we're going to move on to step 4. Define secrets and clues. It's really important that we figure out something juicy about our adventure, something the players can learn. In this case, I think we're going to figure out that the Azure Company works for Lionel Krauser. Knowing who a mercenary company works for and why they want what they want is a juicy secret. It goes right here into one of the many things I want to put in here. The Fate Weaver Aftermath is going to reveal Marjorie's backstory. Marjorie is one of the player characters. Her backstory has been kept a secret thus far, and I think this is an excellent hook into getting all the players interested in what is happening at this very moment. I have no good secrets for the Tower of Oversight, so I'm going to leave it for now. The Lukemis so far has spoken in the minds of several characters as people they know, and they think this might be the Wendigo's form of vocal mimicry. The Wendigo has already shown up in a different part of this adventure, but they also suspect it might be real. So we're going to have to figure out, what is the Lukemis really? That seems like a good list. Let's move on to step 5. Develop fantastic locations. You are playing an adventure game with adventures and heroism, and going to fantastic locations is core to that premise. I already know that the Fate Weaver's cave has not been fully explored, but we've already been to that location. We're just staying in that location, so I don't think it counts as a new fantastic location. But I have put it here on the top anyway. If we were discovering a new part of that cave, a second level of the dungeon, or a new wing that leads into a different thing, you could categorize it as a different fantastic location. One city is one location, but every neighborhood you go to, every town you go to, every shop you go to, those are subsections and new fantastic locations. But I think we need a new one for this session. So I think it's important that if we don't get to Lukimis, which we might not be able to, we do need to get to the Tower of Oversight. I'm going to mark it as our fantastic location, the thing we need to make for this session to really land. It is called Dungeons & Dragons. You will be blown away by how often all you need to do to have a great session is by putting a dungeon that the players can go into. And a dungeon doesn't have to be underground or a crypt or a tomb. It could be a house or a shed or a hex or a league or a mile or a coastline. It is a fantastic location. I'm going to write down that it's Orthanc-esque. Lots of military equipment. That's going to be our fantastic location. Let's move on to step 6. Outline important NPCs. Once you get to your dungeon, it is kind of crucial you have someone to talk to, some people to engage with so that the roleplay can happen. We've got 2 sets of fantastic NPCs in this adventure. We've got the mercenary company from earlier, who are going to serve as a sort of foil for the characters. They're not there to really add new information. They are just mirrors of individual characters, whether that's the mercenary company's spellcaster being a mirror to the player character spellcaster, or the mercenary company's bomber being a mirror to the player character's tinkerer. These things can become sort of sounding boards where interesting dialogue can happen. So just let that sounding board work. Don't get too stuck in the weeds about backstory and who's what. A line like this, one line of dialogue, is perfectly fine. But I know that there is also a cool general that we should meet. Commander Valen Palefist. He is going to be our important NPC, and we're going to get to talk to that guy. Let's make a little bit of a character for him. It doesn't have to be a lot. Militaristic, honorable, strong, respects only, strength, weak, or to be cold. Yeah, that's a hobgoblin. Step 7. Choose relevant monsters. If I could only give you one tip on how to prepare for your next session, is to remember that Dungeons & Dragons is a game about fighting monsters. Therefore, how you prepare a session is go get some monsters to fight. There is a reason that in the background of this entire video, I put my stack of monster books. If you are stuck for your next session, go grab the monster manual and flip through it. Literally just flip and find something. Shadow. Okay, cool. There are shadows here. Why? I don't know. We can find out why later. And if you don't like 2024 D&D, you can just use 2014 D&D. Or maybe you don't like official stuff, so you go get Flea Mortals from MCDM. Or maybe you don't want that, you actually want the book that inspired Flea Mortals. Or maybe you want to get something from the entire collection of Kobold Press. You can do that too. Or you could get the books that inspired Kobold Press. Or if you're old, you can get a book for old people. Like this one. It's old. You know, I shit talk it a lot, but it's actually really cool. You know, if you get a chance to flip through it, it's a lot of fun. Just picking what monster you're running tonight is going to do almost all the work for you, because if it turns out you're running a dragon, that means you're doing a dragon's lair, you're doing the lair action, the regional effects, you're doing a megalomaniacal voice, you're doing a horde, you're doing its minions, you're figuring out what does it hoard, is it treasure, is it lore, is it knowledge, is it people, is it books? What kind of dragon are you doing? Suddenly everything springs out from it, just like everything can spring out from a fantastic location. So with all of that out of the way, let's move on to the final step, step 8. Select rewards. You're not done with your session until you've figured out what your players are getting out of it. Your players really are just little gremlins that are going into dangerous places and punching the bad guy in the hope that gold coins spring out of them. And it doesn't have to be gold coins, it could be anything. It could be loot or treasure, magic items, potions, a feat, a skill, XP, knowledge, plot hooks, roleplay elements, father's love, the princess, the prince. What is the reward? Go figure it out, and that is going to be the sort of cherry on top that's going to take a session that might otherwise be mid and elevate it. For fighting Lukimis, get Seraph back. Seraph is their party member who was kidnapped by this monster. Did I forget to mention that? For the Tower of Oversight, they're going to make an ally out of their friend Huck. They're going to get the weapons that belong to the hobgoblins that are actually all over this tower. There aren't just shadows here. I know there are hobgoblins. Hobgoblin military equipment. There we go. And that is enough to run a session. I would normally clean write this until I end up with about 300, 400, 500 words of text. But if all you end up with is text that looks like this, and an opening monologue that starts from silence and ends with either roll initiative, roll a skill check, or a line of dialogue, I think you have prepared a session. And the next time you're wondering, why am I not able to get started on preparing a session? Just go look at that list. Review the characters, create a strong start, outline potential scenes, define secrets and clues, develop fantastic locations, outline important NPCs, choose relevant monsters, and select rewards. If you want this full list and the book that comes with it explaining all of these in far more detail by the guy who wrote them instead of some guy who's reading them, go check out the Kickstarter Rise of the Lazy Game Master. The link is in the description. And that's where we're going to pick it up next time. Thanks so much for watching this video. This channel is run by me and my girlfriend, and if you want to support us directly, go check out our Patreon and come check out the broadsheet in print. It is now available. We have a store in the description. Go click it out. You can send it right over to your house. You can even pre-order issue 2. And if you're coming to Gen Con, show up at the Crown booth at these times, and I will come sign your copy of the broadsheet. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep studying the mystic arts.